Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Look at this headline from the Daily Hodl. Institutions sell crypto holdings for 5th consecutive week, but XRP, Litecoin, and one more altcoin see inflows. It's so fascinating to see. I'll tell you, there have been, just over the last week, massive Bitcoin outflows and an increase in funds flowing directly to XRP. And while I'll admit, I'll totally acknowledge right at the start of this video, it's not a massive amount of money that flowed into XRP. But when you see how much flowed out of Bitcoin and the fact that XRP was up at all, it's like, whew, kind of makes you wonder. It's almost like institutions, so not just regular retail speculators, but even individuals at institutions are thinking, this is an interesting time perhaps for XRP. And in fact, separate from this story, I'm going to share with you a date that I think is going to be of crucial importance, and I think it would be reasonable to speculate could be extremely volatile for XRP in particular, and it's going to be within the next few weeks for multiple reasons, actually. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so as I record this video, XRP's at 46 cents, Bitcoin's at $27,252, market cap for the asset class 1.15 trillion, and Bitcoin dominance at 45.8%. And so yes, there's been a fair bit of mostly sideways action recently, but you'll also see in this video that there are indicators that something's a-brewing, and it would be reasonable to speculate that there could be a notable move to the upside sooner than later. Here's a crypto fear and greed index at 50 out of 100. So, lemming retail speculators out there, not fearful, not feeling greedy either. And again, this is most of what we've seen for, well, certainly most of the last week, just in general. But it's not going to stay here forever. And so that's why, even if there's a dip first to some degree, and that's an if, things are going to be really fun for the rest of 2023. That's my suspicion anyway. We'll see. But anyway, into this story from the Daily Hodl. Again, institutions are selling crypto for the 5th consecutive week, especially Bitcoin. Boy, are they getting rid of that Bitcoin. But not XRP. Take a look at this. Digital assets manager CoinShares says institutional investors continue to be cautious on the market as crypto suffers outflows for the 5th week in a row. In its latest digital asset fund flows weekly report, CoinShares finds that institutional investors sold off $32 million in crypto holdings last week for a 5th consecutive week of outflows. I actually pulled up that report, by the way. It's on your screen right here, the key portion I wanted to highlight anyway. Flows by assets, U.S. in terms of millions. Bitcoin down $32.7 million. XRP up $200,000. No, I understand. $200,000 you're talking about from an institutional perspective. It's peanuts. I got it. But Bitcoin's down 32 million. So I'm going to take what we can get right here. It's being XRP's being treated currently in a very particular way, I've noticed. Might that have something to be with the current state of things in terms of risk versus reward investing in XRP? Might that have something to do with maybe a little something with the SEC v Ripple case? I mean, that in conjunction with the fact that we're no longer in a bear market, I think that's fair to argue. I think the bottom was this past November, unless, it's always going to be my caveat, unless there's a wildcard event which changes things. Anyway, but here's a quote. Digital asset investment products saw outflows totaling US $32 million, representing the 5th consecutive week of outflows totaling US $232 million, which is 0.7% of total assets under management. Volumes totaled US $900 million for the week, 40% below this year's average. Volumes for the broader market on trusted exchanges hit their lowest level since late 2020 at US $20 billion for the week. So lots of money moving. That's not particularly odd in crypto. I just like pointing out that XRP is holding up pretty damn well here, all things considered. Take a look at, so check out, this is perspective from Rakesh Upadhyay, who is an analyst for Cointelegraph. And he pointed out some stuff, kind of talking in general about what we should be looking for, things that might be triggers for notable price action having to do with crypto in general. And I noticed that a particular date cited here which I think is highly likely to impact crypto one way or another, coincides with an XRP specific date. And so here's some of his analysis, and check this out. I find this very fascinating. Bitcoin has been trading in a narrow range for the past few days. Generally, tight ranges are followed by a range expansion, resulting in strong trending moves. Market intelligence firm Glassnode tweeted on May 22nd that Bitcoin's 7-day price range is comparable to January 2023 and July 2020, both of which preceded large market moves. So, we all know that the first part of 2023 was looking pretty good, all things considered. We know that there was, I'll just say this: XRP's been along for the ride. XRP's certainly been along for the ride. So that's one. And look, when you're considering what is most probable to occur in terms of price action, there is no one single thing to look at. There's all sorts of stuff from fundamental analysis to, technical analysis. You can look at what the on-chain analytics show. You can look at feelings on social media. All those things are actually fascinating to look at here. So it's one thing, but when you put it in conjunction with everything else that it's going on, it makes for a pretty compelling case that we are going to be seeing bigger moves to the upside, even if not immediately. Anyway, piece continues. It is not only Bitcoin. Even the S&P 500 index is at a critical juncture. After its 1.65% rise last week, the S&P 500 has reached near a stiff resistance. The market participants will be keenly watching the outcome of the debt ceiling negotiations before attempting to start a trending move. And so I was paused to note, that is a major factor, actually. It's just, because look, we know that historically speaking, crypto markets and equities markets, they just move in tandem. Especially the big moves, they tend to move in tandem. Not down to the second of the day, the week, so on and so forth. But they do tend to, and this is something that is causing people to be a bit cautious when it comes to investing right now. And you know what's going to happen, though, right? What always happens? The debt ceiling rises, and we don't get our fiscal house in order here in the United States. That's what's going to happen, right? That's what's always happened. Anyway, that's a whole different topic, though. I won't get on a soapbox right now. I'll just keep moving here. And and this is actually, so this is the point that I wanted to make. So it has to do with macroeconomic data, and has to do with what the Fed is going to do. But the date, it's just, what a funny coincidence. Take a look at this. Another trigger could be the macroeconomic data, as it will provide insights on the likely action by the United States Federal Reserve in its next meeting on June 13th and 14th. The FedWatch tool currently projects a 72% probability of a pause by the Fed. Okay, so that's the accepted wisdom, is that the Fed is going to pause what they've been doing recently in terms of hiking interest rates. Now, the date is the reason that I wanted to point that out, though. You know what else happens on June 13th, right? That's the deadline for the Hinman emails being released. And as I highlighted in my very last video, there is... Well, we already know for sure that if you're talking about the clump of emails that makes up what's broadly known as the Hinman emails, XRP is included. We actually do know that because it was referenced by a third party, not an SEC official, but it ended up in that actual email thread. So as I pointed out in my last video, what do you think that there's not going to be any sort of response? What, like that's this analysis that XRP isn't going to satisfy the Howey test, meaning it's not a security? You think that in the context of the Hinman emails, the attorney saw that and then didn't respond? Is that what's really probable here? I don't, maybe, but that'll blow my simple little Moon Family sedan mind. I think that those yappy lawyers probably had some stuff to say about that. We just don't know what that is. And it's probably going to make the SEC, assuming there is additional information, I know, again, my for fun guess is there is. I could be wrong, I admit that, but my guess is yes. And once that's public, is that going to make speculators in the world of XRP feel confident, more confident, or less confident in the outcome of the SEC v. Ripple case? What's that going to do? Because if it looks good, I would not be surprised if that in and of itself was caused, some sort of move to the upside. Because when there's perceived good news surrounding the SEC v. Ripple case recently, in multiple instances this year, the answer has been yes. There have been moves to the upside. Absolutely. Like when we got news that the Hinman emails are going to be released, XRP pops. What about when Judge Torres just gave the smackdown to the SEC at the beginning of March regarding expert testimony? XRP moves to the upside. So if this is perceived as something that is very positive for XRP, watch out for June 13th. Now, I'll note here a couple things. It's possible that the Hinman-related emails could be released sooner than that, but that's the final day. And given that the SEC likes to drag their feet on this stuff, for fun, I'll guess it will be on the dot June 13th, but I certainly acknowledge it could be to some degree sooner than that. Just don't forget the SEC and Ripple both told Judge Torres they wanted an extra week. Otherwise, the deadline was initially going to be June 6th, right? Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, June 6th. So it could come out anytime before a little. It could. I don't think that it's going to. And then there's also this question: is whatever happens with the Fed, is that going to be perceived as good news or bad news? And it depends on what they do, obviously. But you have that in conjunction, potentially right on when the Hinman emails drop. And assuming that's good for XRP holders, and I believe that it likely will be, that in conjunction, it's just another thing. So what if crypto markets are rallying more anyway, and then XRP's thrown into the mix? Just that much more fuel to the fire, so to speak, right? I'm here for it, man. I am here for it. So there's no guarantee on any of this, of course. And what if we actually, for some reason, have bad news? I doubt that. But something's going to happen. You all let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.